Hello, and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
And I'm Nick.
Today, we're playing another game of Add It to Your List. It's a game in which Nick and I take turns trying to convince the other to watch a movie or a show and put it on our list. You know, that thing that everybody does when you're at the bar and you're making that awkward conversation and someone insists actually that you have to watch this thing, and you just politely nod and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Well, Nick and I are going to actually try to get it on each other's lists today. Yeah, I think we've had next to no success in the past with actually doing this. Like, we're polite and we actually do the nodding. We're like, yeah, okay.
Sure. And then we don't watch it.
With the exception of one movie that I actually did watch, and it was like the one thing I shouldn't have added to my list.
Yep.
And Nick even admitted this.
Yep.
And I watched it, and I hated it so much.
Yep. The Union, such a riveting film.
That's one word for it.
Moving on.
But today we have two new things to talk about. I am going to be presenting Nick The Fall, which is a movie that came out, or I think it's just called Fall, actually. Fall, which came out in 2022. And excuse me.
Let's see.
Nick, what are you pitching us today?
I am pitching a 2020 Netflix film called The Old Guard, based on the comic book by Greg Rucka.
I don't know anything about it. I'm quite intrigued.
It's
All
very
right.
good.
So usually we kind of ease into these things. We talk about, kind of movie and show news of what's going on. Not today. Today we're just getting right into it. We don't got time for that today.
Hell yeah.
Nick, I think I went first last time, so I'm going to actually politely go first again. So,
Absolute dog.
So, Nick, let me ask you. How do you feel about heights?
Heights?
Heights, yeah.
I
Like
hate
when you're
heights.
standing
I'm
up
already
high.
out. I'm already out.
You hate them.
Not okay with it.
Not okay with it.
I'm already
Nick,
out.
Do I have
You
the
lost
movie
me.
for you?
You lost me at heights.
Do I have the horror movie for you?
A horror movie? You're pitching me a horror movie?
So it's not. It's not a horror movie.
This is horrific. This is
There
terrible.
are some weird sequences, like in the beginning, where like, all right, let me just get into this.
Jeez.
All right, so Fall is a movie about two characters who decide that they're going to climb one of the tallest structures in America, and it's this radio tower out in the middle of the desert. They're gonna go climb this, and they're doing this for some personal reasons that aren't too important for this pitch, but they're doing it for personal reasons. And as they make the treacherous climb, I think it's like 1,500 feet in the air. It's something insane. It's crazy high. They get to the top, and unfortunately, once they're up there and they get ready to go down, something happens, and the ladder that helped get them up there crumbles and breaks. And now that they are stuck at the top of this radio tower in the middle of the desert, no one seemingly knowing that they are there. And it is a movie about survival and about what they do next. That is the whole movie. That's it. And it's about 90 minutes long. It's pretty short, honestly.
Okay.
Once they actually start climbing the tower, this thing is riveting, and I could not stop watching it. So, at this point, this is the part of the game where Nick is allowed to ask me 3 questions to be polite. And just make it sound like he's engaging me at the bar. Nick, what are your questions?
It sounds like the primary portion of this movie just takes place on top of a radio tower with two characters.
That's correct.
Acting-wise, give me like a 1 to 10, 10 being like really solid job. What can I expect?
Okay.
Are there any like... Do they sell it? This is tough because it's just two characters for like an hour, basically.
Yeah.
In distress.
Yes, that is correct. So that's kind of where I think the beauty of this movie kind of comes in. So I think I've talked about it before on this show that I'm a sucker for bottle episodes where you have two characters just stuck in one location and they're just allowed to be characters, right? That very much is the case, right? And, you know, it's these one character who is already at an emotional low now that they're on top of the world, as high as they could possibly be, she's even at her lowest. And the other character who's just this very big like source of strength, trying to like, keep her confidence, get her through this. I would say the performances are really good. That being said, I will grant you this warning. I checked this movie out because I saw the trailer and I was like, that's interesting. How do you make a whole movie about that? I had heard from someone else that they really enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, I'll give this a chance. First 15 minutes before we're actually at the tower, I was greatly annoyed at this movie. I was greatly annoyed at it. And it's nothing to do with the characters, or it's nothing to do with the acting. It has everything to do with the characters and how they're being presented in the first 15 minutes. But after that, when we are actually starting the movie and going up the tower, picks up a lot, and the characters are actually pretty interesting from that point on.
Okay. Does this movie have a happy ending?
Yes, I would say it's a happy ending.
Okay. More intriguing. Any special, any actors or directors or soundtrack from people that we know or that have done something else that...
The only familiar face I've seen, at least as far as stuff that you and I like talk about, is one of the actors. There is one other actor. This actually might be a point against the movie. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in this movie, and he's the man. I love him. If you've seen Walking Dead, if you've seen that one scene in Batman v Superman where he's Bruce's father for some weird reason. Great actor, criminally underused in this movie. It's actually insane that they got Jeffrey Dean Morgan to be the dad, and he doesn't have more to do. That's a point against the movie, honestly. I would say that's the biggest familiarity. I will say just one more thing, Nick. What really sells this movie is the believability of the fact how high they are and where they are. It never feels like they're on a set. It always feels like they are on this tiny platform way high up, and that has everything to do with the direction and the cinematography.
Nice.
It is next level. That's why I was riveted. I was riveted with the cinematography of this movie. It was cool. Really, really impressive.
All right. That's it. I don't have any other questions. Do I have to make a choice now, or do we do it at the end?
We can do it at the end. You know what? Let's shake it up a bit. Let's shake it up.
All
Nick,
right.
Pitch me your bad movie.
Oh, no. This is actually a fantastic movie. It's so good that they have been working on a second one for 4 years, and it finally has a release date, July of 2025, for the second movie, for the sequel. But
coming up,
the original, titled The Old Guard, 2020, came out in 2020 on Netflix, starring Charlize Theron as the main character.
I've heard of her.
And a handful of other actors and actresses as well, who are really fantastic. I don't know them by name because she's the title card, if you will. This movie is about a millennia old warriors with unexplained regenerative healing abilities who use their vast experience to work as mercenaries, essentially. Okay, so we're talking about centuries old warriors who can heal, and they essentially take on jobs to help people. And the particular plot of this movie is, they have a rule where they don't ever work for the same person twice, and they break their rule to help kidnap children. And by breaking their rule, working for the CIA for a second time, it's essentially a setup so that the CIA can film them regenerating, and then essentially share the secret with a scientist who's going to try to, of course, kidnap them and test them and figure out how to use this thing. The movie is so cool though. The acting, the fight sequences are totally insane. Acting sequences are off the charts, and really just the storyline in general, it's a perfect blend to me of fight scenes, drama, and even it introduces like a new immortal, while also like delving into the past of like the current ones, the ones that have been immortal for centuries. So you get to see like the past and how, long these people have lived, and then you get to see a new immortal kind of essentially like be born, if you will, in the present time. So yeah, number 2 comes out in July 2025. This was really well received on Netflix when it came out. This is like a superhero film like you have to watch. It's so cool. and it's different. It's like totally different. It's based on a comic book series, but yeah. What are your questions?
Why did they break their rule?
So they had worked for that CIA agent before, and that they liked him, but really it was more about the story that he sold them on what needed to be done. And it was like, I think it was like a handful of kidnapped children in like South Sudan. And like, so they just sold them a story on saving kids, and they just made a bad call.
I see. Now, if I recall correctly, you said the main actors were Charlize Theron. Theron?
Yeah.
I never say her name right.
Yeah, Charlize Theron is like the title. She's like the title card actress.
Right.
And then everyone else, she's the only person that you would recognize off the bat.
Third question. Would you say, what's like the climax of this movie like? Like, what's like the overall like conflict?
The overall conflict ends up being, one or two of the immortals, a couple of the immortals get captured, and then the rest of them have to break out their friends from this laboratory that is like heavily guarded by operatives and other mercenaries and things like that, because of course they want to keep their secret safe that they're immortal, and they obviously don't want their friends to be lab rats, basically. So that's like the main like trouble in the film. The other cool part too is how the immortals who have been around for a millennium, how they discover a new immortal. And so the new immortal essentially dies in combat, but ends up having this power, and they heal. And the old immortals and the new one they keep having the same dream about each other, and they keep having this dream until they find each other. So it's kind of like a cool way to blend their powers and their minds in a way until they can kind of like come together. So anyway,
so hang on, just as a follow-up to that, like, just so I think I understand it. So like, are they kind of like the Eternals, like where they've been around for a minute and like they just kind of assist humanity and
literally they didn't like, it's not like how the Eternals like help humanity build things, but it is very much like they have literally been around for like since like the Salem witch trials, like and before that.
But humanity's actually taken notice.
Not all of them, but like Charlize's character is, I think, the oldest one of the whole crew. And so, over the years, as new immortals came, she found them, and they all kind of became this tight-knit family. And so, yeah. Oh, also, one other thing. The other twist is that one of the immortals, like, essentially, like, double-crossed them or, like, backstabbed them during this film. And, like, because he's immortal, you can't kill them. So they have, like, this really cool rule of what to do if, like, you break the rules of, like, their group. But you can watch the movie to find that out.
All right, cool. I think I have what I need. So Nick, I pitched you first. Where are you at? No matter what you say, you have to tell me why.
I think you had a really solid pitch. But I am not going to add this to my list.
No! All those awkward minutes at the bar! Why aren't you adding it?
I already have plot concerns just from your explanation. Like, they're on top of a radio tower and they don't know how to get help, but they're on a radio tower, so like there's got to be signal, so they can't call anyone. I'm assuming their bags or their phones get lost throughout the way, which just seems easy. So, and I know you don't want to talk. We're not going to give away the movie, but that was already. I was like, well, I don't know. It kind of seems stupid.
How
Plus,
is that
like,
not one of your questions?
well, because I didn't want to like rip apart your film while you were pitching it.
But there was an answer.
But there shouldn't be an answer. The answer
There is
not,
an answer though.
The answer's not going to be.
It's actually a really good answer.
It's not going to be acceptable. There's no way. Okay, if your answer is acceptable, I'll change my mind right now on the spot.
The radio tower is defunct.
But they don't have cell phones with them?
They have cell phones with them, but they're also like 15, like what is it, 1500 or like 2000? There's some ridiculously like high level in the air in the middle of the desert where there is no signal.
I hate that.
You hate that it makes sense? Yeah, it makes sense.
Listen, I just don't want to watch a movie about people who have trauma and they decide to climb a radio tower to solve it instead of going to the gym. Okay, how about that?
You know what? That's fair. Because that is what it is. It's like some hardcore trauma.
Go to the gym. You won't die. Same thing.
I'm gonna since you're not gonna watch it, I'm gonna insert something right here. Just spoilers. If I have successfully pitched you on this movie, tell us in the comments. Also, don't watch this next part. You have 5 seconds to turn this off.
Wow.
I'm gonna put something at the bottom of the screen here. Skip to this if you want to keep watching. Okay, you've been warned. So there is a great twist in this movie, where there's a point where they dropped their bag, and I forgot what's in the bag, but it's something that they need. I think that actually might be where the smartphone is, because they do use the smartphone for something. They just don't use it to call someone. They have a drone with them, and they try to use the drone to like get down to like a nearby like motel or something, right?
Interesting.
Anyway, but they don't have a ladder, so they have a rope, and they have to get down like I don't know, maybe like 20-30 feet. It's not that far, but when you're that high up, like it seems crazy far, right? Anyway, it doesn't go well, and character starts climbing back up but falls, but the other character like catches her like on the rope and then like comes back up, right? Except you find out like later in the movie that that's not actually what happened, and the girl didn't catch her, and she's been imagining her being, because she's the source of strength for her. She's been imagining her with her on top of the tower for the last like 24 hours, and she dropped her and she fell on top of like the satellites that were connected to the tower, which again, not that high, but high enough to kill her. So the main girl has actually been alone for like the last 24 hours by herself.
Oh my god.
It was a great twist. And like the way it's presented is like fucking awesome. Like it was such a great, like I honestly get like goosebumps thinking about it. It was a cool twist.
That's very interesting. And also, you said this movie had a happy ending, and now I'm questioning that statement.
It is still, remember I hesitated? I hesitated. It is still a happy ending.
I'm still going with
welcome back. If you were trying to avoid spoilers, welcome back.
Welcome back. All right, Joe. After hearing my pitch for the old guard, what is your decision?
Yeah, no, I'm in. I really am in. It's a comic book movie. I love comic book movies. B, I guess there's a sequel, so it's still relevant, coming out soon. And I don't think you and I talk about this. I actually really love stories about immortals.
Yeah.
Because I love like seeing the passage of time and seeing like how like a character is unchanged in that time, but the environment around them keeps changing, and seeing like how that character deals with that, right? So to have a group of them and then to be challenged by like humanity for whatever secrets they have, it's very interesting. I'm in. Yeah, that was an easy sell for me, honestly.
I knew you'd like this. Is right up your alley. Like you're gonna love this. You should watch this like sooner than later for sure.
Sick.
All right.
Yeah. So if you guys felt as though either of those, or both, or neither, made your list, let us know, and please tell us why. As for keeping up with us, Nick, what's the best way to do so?
Hit that subscribe button, let us know in the comments what you think, and find us on threads at May the Review Be With You. And until next time,
May the review be with you.
Peace.